Hey there. If you're a performing artist, you know the feeling, right? You pour your heart and soul into your work, but when it comes to social media, it can feel like you're just adding to all the noise. Well, today we're going to change that. We're going to flip that frustration into a seriously powerful tool for your career, giving you a clear strategy to turn your online presence into actual, real-world opportunities. So let's dive in. It's a totally common feeling. We are all dealing with this kind of inbox fatigue from the constant flood of stuff online. And for an artist, that makes it so hard to break through and make a real connection. You post your work, you share your updates, and crickets. It just seems to disappear without a trace. But what if we've been looking at this whole thing backwards? This quote from the marketing genius Seth Godin, this is the key to everything we're talking about today. We're going to reframe your social media not as you begging for attention, but as a generous act. It's about serving your audience, whether that audience is a casting director, a potential collaborator, or just someone who loves your art. To pull this off, we have to start with a really crucial mental shift. It's all about moving from just being an artist to thinking like an artistic entrepreneur. So what's the difference really? Well, the product-oriented artist kinda just creates their art and then crosses their fingers, hoping people will like it. But the client-oriented artistic entrepreneur, they take an active role. They actually try to understand what their audience, their clients, really need, and then they position their work as the perfect solution. And look, this is why this mindset is so important. We are moving way beyond vanity metrics like likes and follows. The whole point of this strategy is to get you tangible results that build a real sustainable career. We're talking about money, connections, and the projects you've been dreaming of. Okay, and this right here, this is the most powerful part of that entire mindset shift. Get this, you are not the hero of the story. Your audience is. Think about it. That casting director, that festival programmer, that person in the front row, they are the hero on a journey. And your role is to be their trusted guide, the one who has the empathy and the authority to help them win. All right, so let's see how this new guide mindset actually helps you craft your message. Once you know you're the guide, you can finally start telling a story that resonates with your hero. In this world of endless distraction, our brains are literally wired to ignore anything that's confusing. A clear story is what we call a sense-making device. It just organizes information so an audience can instantly get what you're about. If your message is confusing, it's just more noise. But if it's clear, it becomes a powerful signal that cuts right through all that static. So how do you build that clear story? You use this simple 5-step framework. First, you identify the character. That's your audience, the hero. Second, what problem do they have that you can solve? Third, they meet a guide. Hey, that's you. Fourth, you give them a simple plan to work with you. And finally, you show them how working with you ends in their success. It's their victory, and you guided them to it. Okay, so you've got your mindset, you've got your story, but the million-dollar question is still, what on earth do I actually post? This next section gives you a practical, totally sustainable toolkit that solves that exact problem. I want you to forget the pressure to only post those perfect, polished, finished moments. Instead, just use the 60-30-10 formula. It's a simple, balanced structure that makes creating content way less stressful. 60% of your stuff should show off your expertise, 30% can pull back the curtain on your process, and that last 10% can be a little personal, connecting people to your why. So what does that actually look like? Well, for your 60% expertise, you could share a video of how you break down a new script. For your 30% process, you could post a little clip from a rehearsal. And for that 10% personal, maybe just share what inspires you about a particular piece of music or a playwright. See? This formula positions you as a pro while also building a real connection. All right, let's bring it all home. Let's connect all these strategies to the thing that really matters, getting tangible results for your career. The best way to think about this is like a funnel. At the very top, in the awareness stage, strangers discover you through your awesome content. In the middle, consideration, they decide to become followers because they're intrigued by your expertise and your process. And finally, at the bottom, is action. This is where they become a true supporter. They buy a ticket, they suggest a collaboration, or they hire you for a role. Every single piece of content helps guide them on that journey. But here's a really important reality check. This does not happen overnight. Your ability to tell a compelling story and create great content is a muscle, and it only gets stronger with consistent, repeatable practice. So please, don't get discouraged by the early results. Take the Alexandria Symphony Orchestra, for example. In their first year trying a new fundraising campaign, they raised just $2,875. A lot of people would have called that a failure and just quit right there, but they didn't. They saw it as the first rep in a workout. Each year after that, they learned, they tweaked, and they tried again. They were building their organizational muscle. And your early social media efforts, they're exactly the same. They're not failures, they're the first reps you're putting in to build the strength you need to succeed. So, what this all means is that you now have the mindset, the story framework, and the content formula to start building that muscle today. Your audience, your future collaborators, your next big project, they are all out there waiting for you. The only question left is, what story will you tell first?